Dichatarisam kwamuri marikana upenyu wangu orema ndichatarisa kumwari wangu ndichatarisa umwari wangu Muchembere, hello, muri say. How are you this morning? A very good morning to you, Muchembere. Do maybe in Zimbabwe. For some reason, phone here is kundirakidza kuti vanhu vakajoina. Probably it's because I haven't done a live in a long time. Chiende pane iyo tinoona. Okay, it's now starting to indicate now. Yakutanga kuindicate. Auntie Moleni, Mangwanani. Good morning, Auntie Moleni. How are you this morning? Kumafira mepo kwatiri Muchembere. Tinoisa maoko tamuka kuti mamukawo kwamuri ikoko. Auntie Sylvia, a very good morning. Hanzi ndiri kuda kuona bra. Mirai Auntie Sylvia, muone bra. Ndakatenga. Iri bra ndakatenga. Ndakaona kwakavharwa nezuro. No, thank you so much for that. It encourages war. I'll be honest. So I'm not Auntie Sylvia. Should not encourage to look at ourselves as well. Madzimai Amara, a very good morning, Madzimai Mamuka say. You know, I miss this. I miss doing what I love best. Auntie, Anna Colette, how are you? Good moyo wangu wazorora. Arizi rimwe rinosvika huku, rimwe randosimbopfeka. Rinoti kana wakapfeka rinorembera kusvika huku. Iri rinyasori intact apa. Yeah. Aiwa, zvinoti encourage. You know some of the things when Danica, tinenge tichifunga kuti pamwe tiri kutaurwa, but I'll be honest with you. Anzire black rakarabwa. Vakati erudzi manje. Apanje black kainenge yakanaka kuti tinoripfeka nhasi tigoripfeka mangwana tigoripfeka uswera mangwana togopedza 1 week tinaro tozorigeza musi Sunday tichiripfeka futi musi Monday. Ndo zvakanakira black izvozvo. White inokurumidza kakuoneka china Muchembere inokurumidza. It keeps us in check, honestly. Kana uri munhu anonyatsofunga, some of the things they might be said to jokingly, but kana ukazimbwa unotoita iwewe zveshuwa, but it keeps us in check. Unozvibvunzawo kuti asi paya uri wega muchimoyo ndiri kutaurwa apa, nekuti iwe rako kapamwe rinenge rakarembera kusvikawo. Auntie Chenai, a very good morning to you. How are you? I think the problem is how the message is delivered. That's very correct, Auntie Sylvia. Yeah, the message is how it's delivered. Tikataura tishiseka so zvinotoita sterek. In any shape or form, I do agree with you. Message ikadeliverwa zvisirizo inotogona kuaffecta vanhu. Kunyango uchitsiura munhu kana kutaura nemunhu in everyday life yatinotongoita paFacebook ipapa, zvikatadza kutaurika, ukatadza kunatsa mukanwa mako, the delivery at the end of the line inotogona kuaffectika. Saka zvinotozonetsa nekutorwa zvisirizvo makoti weNigeria. How are you? Inini, I'm missing what I like doing best, and it's this. But munhu unofanirwa kungovhuma kuti kana zvinhu zvichidi yes zvatiri kukurudzira. Okay, kana uchifanirwa uri kuenda through some things, you should just go along with the flow so that things are easy, rather than kuramba uchishingirira chinhu chaunotonyatsoona kuti apa ndikaramba ndakarambirira apa tutemba tunogona kukwira ndiripo paraivha apa ndikatoita zvisirizvo, kana kuti ndinogona kutotripa inini mazuva apera ende andiri tandiri kutaura nenyaya yezvi Auntie V, a very good morning, how are you? Nhasi ndinoda kutanga nekubika tutii twangu turi kundibatsira mazuva ano. Kati kari kundibatsira first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. But let me put a disclaimer to say kuti inini handimezhe zvinhu, ndinoita zvinhu zvangu. Ndanda kumhanyira kunopinda mushuga chaiyo shuga yekunzi shuga, and through manhingirikini anonzi mai oh, thank you for tagging people through what I'm seeing on social media. Social media, if you want it to help you, it will help you. I loved doing lives, but ndakatoona kuti at times zvinokonzeresa ndikasiya. I do agree with you. Yatotanga ndiri kutozvibata kuti ndibvunze kuti ndandiri kutaura nyaya yechizvi. Yeah, let's go back to tea. Yandira kutogadzira tea tese. I've boiled my kettle. Yeah, I've got a leftover lemon. Iri kundibatsira kuti I know ndakaenda kunotorwa shuga yangu kuti ndione kuti yakamira pai. Ndanga ndiri kunzi ndiri mutype 2 iya inocontrolwa nechikafu. But through kuenda pa social media, baking with Millie, a very good morning. Through kuenda pa social media, I found it. Auntie Matiashe, how are you? Thank you so much. I found it helpful. Kungoteedzerawo zvimwe even usingazive kuti zviri kushanda here kana kuti hazvizi. But for me, it is working. It has worked. Because mana January was the cut-off point yangu yekunzi ndiswe pamapiritsi iyo sugar iyoyi. But ndakaona ipo pa social media, ndiri kuita problem iyoyo muchembere, ndosaka ndaka withdraw kuya pa uyu. I've got a bit of things going on. Oh, thank you, Auntie Anna. So ndaka withdraw because of that. Okay, let's go on to our tea. Inina, I talk too much. Auntie Ivy, how are you? Auntie V Velvet, how are you? Auntie, all yourself to be emotional with us. We have been helping people for a long time. Yourself to be emotional with us. You have been helping people for a long time. I hear you, Auntie V. Okay, I've got my ground cinnamon. I'm going to make my own tea. And it won't be first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. I went kwachiremba kunotorwa kuti tione kuti takamira sei, nekuti vakanga vati if you don't improve by January, you are done. Maakutoenda pamatablets amaya mwana. Saka ndati inini handimezhe zvinhu zvangu. I've got cinnamon. I put some cinnamon in a cup. I've got some turmeric. I put some turmeric in a cup. Oh, yeah. I've got ginger as well. I put it in a cup. Auntie Sophia, how are you? And I've got black pepper. Did you know you can make some tea with black pepper? I will have to put my cup down. I want to do it in Muchiona. This is my cup. I'm putting it here. And then some black pepper. Okay, that is my cup here. I was putting some black pepper. So let's put that aside. I've got my boiling water. My tea is ready. That's my tea. That's my tea. It's ready to drink. On an empty stomach. If you take it on an empty stomach during the day, it's up to you. And then I'm going to put a bit of lemon in it. Yatopera tea yangu. Yatopera tea yangu. Yatopera tea yangu. It's things that I saw pa social media pa app. Saka kana tea pa social media ka it's not only the noise that you should only look for. Kuti nayi ndiudzeyo kana kwa ningirikini kwa Auntie Sophia Warinda kwa kuitwa noise kana yatanga munditageo. Go through some pages uchiona kuti inobetsera ere. This has indeed helped me. I went 2 weeks ago and I got a message to say your results are normal. There is no need for you to come in this time. After 3 months, vanondinyorera futi kuti huya tiite mabloods titeste. So for now, this tea has helped me. But the best is, ndikona baking with Millie varikuti true. The best is, take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Zvimwe zvese zvaunozoita kuinwa during the day like I'm doing. Rato bonus. Thank you, Auntie Sophia. Auntie Julie, how are you? Rato bonus. So that is what I've been doing because it's part of something that was affecting me a lot. Kutindinzi ndakutenda pama tablets diabetes. So that's our tea. So we'll be drinking it as it goes. It's worth trying. If it's not agreeing with you, stop with immediate effect. Kungotaurawo kwedu zvikundibatsira. What might help me might not necessarily help you as well. But whilst I say that it's not only the tea that helps, it's also the food that you eat. Nechirwere ichi you need to kudya zviri proper. Unotonida kudya zviri proper. Mind what you eat. Even meat chaidzo meat dzana red meat idzi ndadzora things like pork, things like beef. I concentrate more on the chicken. I concentrate more on the chicken and I concentrate more on the fish. Papa pandine nchiposta chikafu changu ka. Askana imi asingadi sadza kana uchibika it's now what do you call it? It's now ufuwe brown. Things that really brown, not really refined. Aiwa ipapo pa diabetes azvitombo zodiwi zvachose. Saka when you see me post zvimwe zvinhu zvandinenge ndabika ndichidya, I know so many people comment vachingoti healthy. It's part of the regime as well. Besides this, you ought to know zvinhu zvaunofanirwa kudya. Sometimes I'm very naughty. Yes, I do. Yes, Auntie Chenai, we are what we eat. Sometimes I'm naughty. Munondiona ndichidya even rewhite marimwe zuro ndakatodya rewhite and yet ndinaro. Inini ndinonetsekana nekuona hwezviyo. Sometime I talked about hwezviyo and someone said Auntie ndokutengera here ndipe address. Vakatonditumira zveshuwa hwezviyo. But what I've now resorted to doing is kutsvaga kana brown rice kana zviyo zvangu ndoisa muchi chinonzi chiimi chamunoti chiliquidizer whatever ichi ndotogadzira ufu hwangu ndowandakagadzira. I think ndakakanda video ndichigadzira ufu hwangu. And I love I feel it here and there. Yeah, here and there. Anything that we eat should be eaten in moderation. Full stop. Eating in moderation, ndochi wororo chacho. But let's go into our life. Let me take this opportunity to welcome each and everyone that is watching me live from. It might be a very good morning, it might be a good afternoon, or it might be a very good evening, depending. And let me go and make my coffee. Yeah, vanogadzira coffee yavo whilst we listen to the live. Please go ahead. Varku aina, let's iron chiona. Let's be doing something rather than sitting and being idle and watching a live. Remember, time doesn't wait for a person. Time and it. So let's be doing something. I was saying it depends on where you're watching because time difference. At the moment, we are 2 hours behind Africa, but at the end of March, we will be changing our clocks and our difference will be 1 hour. Okay, Nasi, I want to talk about closures. You know, sometimes things happen in our lives. We have got traumas that we have got in our lives that have affected our lives. The life of a widow, a very good morning, welcome. That have affected our lives one way or the other. We might not go around saying what has happened to our lives. We might not show in public what has happened in our life, but mumwe anoziva zvinhu zvakaitika mukati maupenyu wake. Sometimes we seek closures for things that have happened in our lives. Sometimes I say seeking closure is not worth it for some things that have happened in our life. Seeking closure to everything that has happened to you in your life, sometimes it's not worth it. And it, chasing closures. This is just an example why I am saying sometimes it's not worth it. Chasing closures. Chasing closures from manipulative and abusive people. Most of the time it's not worth it. Because a manipulator will always be a manipulator. An abuser will always be an abuser. So a manipulative and an abusive person, chasing closures from them, it's not worth it. Let me give you an example of why I say it's not worth it. And it is. It's not worth it because, take for example, you are bitten by a snake. And did it. Come on, nenyoka. And did it. We all know kuti so many snakes zine venom inogona kutouraya fast. And then kune dzimwe nyoka dzine venom ine slow release inofamba mumiri mako ichito kuwadza or ichito shatter down my body organs ako. Andite. Wakoborwa ninyoka paya. Instead of dealing with poison yapinda body mako, yekurumwa ninyoka kwako anti maudigurire, good morning. Instead of dealing with that, sporo kutendanisa nyoka. Kuti ndoda kuti nyoka indiudze kuti yandirumire chi. Yapinda nepasi petebhuru iyo wapinda yanopinda nepasi pemavhiri emotikari yapinda yambopinda mbini newo wapinda uri kutsvaga closure yenyoka kuti wandirumirei. Explain to me kuti wandirumirei. Explain nyoka uri kutaura nenyoka kuti wandirumirei. That is what so many people are doing. That is what so many people are doing. I want to take my marriages, mamwe atiri. We have got people that are living with manipulators. Even in our associations, we have got people that are associating with people that are very manipulative and very abusive. And honestly, most of them, they don't know how to get out. They don't know how to get out because vakarumwa nenyoka iya mu-abusive relationship, mu-abusive whatever association or acquaintance yavainayo, vakarumwa nenyoka. Handiti nyoka khobo mukuwadzana kwatiri kuita marelationships ne-whatever iyoyo khobo. Instead of dealing with the poison yapinda mumuviri mavo yemanipulation ne-abuse, vadototanga vabvunza manipulator kuti why, kana kuti abuser why. You need to tell me why for me to get closure. I need to know. We always use the term I need to know for me to get closure. Ndoda kuziva why. How can I go on without me knowing why you did that to me? And the more you're waiting for you to get the closure by being told why, the more the poison is spreading. The more you're waiting for you to prove to your manipulator and your abuser that you didn't deserve it, the more the poison is spreading. Because you have asked, don't think it will stop. And shut up relationship iyoyo, kana mu association iyoyo, kana wanduza out why. And the more you're waiting, the more the poison is spreading. And before you know it, what have to classify mu class isiriyo because you waited. Some people might ask, what is manipulation? Some people might ask, what is abuse? There are different types of manipulations. Manipulation is when someone controls you or influences you to certain things. We have got so many people in marriages where you can see kuti apa murume anokontrolwa, apa mukadzi anokontrolwa. And it's very easy to see a manipulator. You see a manipulator by the way they talk. You see a manipulator by the way they handle themselves. Manipulator anooneka. Manipulator most of the time is I. And the I is endless. Manipulation is when you are controlled and when you are influenced to do something. There are so many types of manipulations. Panema types ema manipulations akawandisa. Anti-bullet, welcome. Gaslighting is part of manipulation. Did you know? Facebook, I'll use the example of Facebook. I think the word gaslighting, we have seen it play out so much by social media. Auntie Selina is a gaslighter. She's a gaslighter. It's part of manipulation. It's part of something that is used by people that are manipulative. They influence you to gaslight. Manipulators influence you to gaslight. And what they also do is they love bomb you so that you stay within them. And when they want to use you for something, for example, gaslighting, you are near them. Antina Msahai. Manipulators, they guilty trip you. They can talk. They can talk and exonerate themselves as the good ones. Ma manipulator iwayo. They guilty trip you. Problem. That is what manipulators do. And for social media, we have got so many of them. Takawandisa. For social media, my socialites that are so manipulative. They guilty trip you. They say things. And because no influencer to gaslight, they gaslight kuti antiselina wakaita live up. Vachitaura nenyaya anti-bullet. Anditi. Because vane gaslighters avo avainavo. Anti-nomsa vanopedzisira kuita iya inonzi guilty tripping. Anditi. Vakutofunga kuti ndivo vari guilty. Because the manipulator anti-Selina is busy talking on her own behalf. And because vane tumagaslighter twavo twavainato, tinoedera kuti antinomsa vaite guilty trip. Sorry, at the moment I'm not going through much of my comments. So those are manipulators. They control and they influence. They control and they influence. Let's move on to abuse. I think as we were growing up, so many of us, taingofunga kuti ku abuse kwando kurowa. When it came to abuse, so many of us, even I just used to think kuti ku abuse kwa kurowa. But guess what? There's so many forms of abuse that go on. There are so many forms of abuse that goes on. What is abuse in the first place? What do you understand by abuse? To understand, remember, to understand zvakasiyana. And it's okay to understand the way you are understanding until otherwise probably you get a proper explanation of what it is. Abuse is the action that intentionally is done to cause harm to someone. Abuse. Hakuna abuse inonzi a mistake. It's intentional. It's the action that intentionally causes harm to someone. That is abuse. And under abuse, I said there are so many abuses. It's not only the physical that we have forever been told or learned in our lifetime. Kutikana munhu ari kuabhuzwa ari kurohwa chete. Kurohwa katagara tinoziva uko, that's the physical part that we have always known. Guess what? There is social abuse. There is verbal abuse. There is emotional abuse and some other abuses amongst men. Physical. It's when you get to the physical. That's physical abuse. That is physical abuse that we have always ever known, Isusi. But I said there are so many abuses that are there. Let's talk about social abuse. Let's talk about social abuse, which I said is one of the forms of abuse. Remember, I said it's the action that intentionally causes harm to someone. And social abuse is the behavior that aims to cut you off from your family, your friends, or your community. It can also involve a person or people trying to damage your relationship with others. People who socially abuse you might also attempt to make you look bad and to ruin your reputation. No one wanaita social abuse. Since we are on social media, my question is, from what I've read, is it a true or a fact that we are seeing this happening within our social circles? Social abuse, aim to cut you off, even from Makoti's page. Antisendina vachitaura ningirigini vachiningirigira zvinhu about talking things about anti-Makoti, just to cut off people from Makoti weku Nigeria. That's social abuse. And a lot of it happens per social media. Vazhinji vedu semasocialites tirikuita chindini chekuti ndini. And we do down other people. Kune vasina pfungwa that listen to it. Vanototanga kuvengera Makoti weku Nigeria zvinhu zvisipo. Jesu. Andisendina kutogona kupika chinhu chekutaura nekudzikisira. Auntie Natasha. Auntie Natasha, hi. Kupika something chekudzikisira Auntie Natasha, Auntie Molen, whatever. That is social abuse. That is social abuse. And we are getting so much of it on social media. So much of it on social media. The past 2 years have been worse. The past 2 years have been worse. The past 2 years, so many names have been named per social media. And gaslighters in turn have responded. Auntie Lydia, how are you? That is social abuse. Then there is verbal abuse. Verbal. As in verbal. You know the beauty that I like about mashoko mazhinji, whether ari kuchishona kana kuti ari kuchirungu. Some of them sort of lead you on to understand kuti zviri kutaurwa. Verbal abuse. Verbal like verbal diarrhea. Verbal abuse produce verbal diarrhea. Hey, kurutsa kutaura. Do you know kuti mama shoko, why it tends to be abuse, verbal abuse, why it tends and is under being abuse is? Akomana pane mama shoko asinga anonotidyo. Pane zvimwe zvinhu zvinonotidyo. My families, we've got people that have got a lot of verbal abuse. Muma associations as well. Nema acquaintances edu atino wadzana now. Pane wamaone verbal abuse. Pa social media pa izere. Iriti, as you say. Iriti. And then there's also emotional abuse. Emotional from emotions. Something that is done and it touches your emotions. My emotions ako. Ekuti pamwe unotogona kuzoreacta. And you react too badly. That's emotional abuse. There are some people that know where to press under abuse and they use the emotional abuse. Yekuti pamwe antiselina wanonza avadaire. And then you emotionally abuse antiselina. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all the people that have come. We are merely talking about kuti sometimes there is no need to look for closures. Because some closures are not necessary. Because the moment that you wait and look for a closure, sometimes from Auntie Selina, you are only prolonging your manipulator to manipulate you or your abuser to abuse you. You are prolonging. Kuti manipulator aku manipulate. Because you in contact with them because you want a closure, you want answers. And did it. I used an example. Yekuti, some things are not worth getting closures. I used an example, yes, snake, nyoka. Kuti nyoka inoti kobo, yokuruma, and did it. Instead of you dealing with the poison to stop it from spreading, iwewe you start looking for closure. Watanga kutsvaga nyoka, ndati yapinda mbini newa wapinda. Yapinda pai watsvaga chimuti wano koronga. Kuti nyoka ibude. Udangoti nyoka ikuudze why it did bite you. Unotoitsvaga chete. Apa poison. Iriko spread. I said there are some snakes that are very poisonous. Zvekuti reaction ye venom inofamba nemuwiri. Iwe uri kutsvaga nyoka, venom iri kufamba. Iwe uri kutsvaga nyoka, wanopinda pasi pemotikari. Wativharai madhoo ingapinde mumba, wanotsvaga mumahuswa. Kutopara kuno opena huswa uchitsvaga nyoka yakuruma. And not dealing with the venom inflicted because you want closure. Yekuti ukaona nyoka, unoona ichi musoro bva, woti wandirumire. That is what we were talking about. So many of us who have got manipulators around them, or living with manipulators, or associated with manipulators, as well as abusers, we are poisonously walking on a journey yekutraya kutsvaga nyoka kuti tibvunze kuti wandirumirei, I didn't deserve kurumwa, and not dealing with the poison. Some closures are not worth waiting for. Because in waiting, let's remember your health degenerates as well. In waiting for a closure. Yaunotonyatsoziva kuti manipulator handipe closure. We have described what a manipulator is. You know damn well kuti manipulator hasuzondipa closure. Reaction ya manipulator pakutsvaga closure yako ichatsvaga kuti ugaslightwe netuma minions twake, ichatsvaga kukulove bomba kuita unge zvinhu zviri kuita going smooth, love bomb you. And when they've loved bomb you, you think, and before you know it, the manipulator is back at their game. And the more you wait, kuchaga closure, you're continuously being guilty tripped, that you end up iwewe wakutofunga kuti ndini ndiri wrong. And the love bomb that manipulators give you is, the love bomb that they give you is they are withdrawing you from people to make you see, and they control you and they influence what you do. Manipulators, they control what you do, and they control what you do. And before you know it, uchitsvaga closure. Ndopachinonzwa kuti ndingangoita sei hangu hapana zvokuita. Ndotoita sei? Hapana. Hapatorina zvokuita. For me, my manipulator, my abuser. Because in manipulating a person, you're controlling a person and influencing them. That's abuse. Yeah, they make you feel guilty, the life of a widow. Then don't guilty tripping at Antrutaura. That's the guilty tripping. They make you trip by making you feel guilty. If you look at a kazhinji vano entertainer, let me use the word entertain, because you are not wanting to get out, because you are wanting closure. Let me stick in, because if I stick out of the manipulator or abusers, then ndinozoshaya matauriro andinoita naye. I want to hold on, stick around my manipulator and my abuser. So that I get closure. It won't be coming anytime soon. Because pane, a lot of manipulators, their manipulation is now embedded in them. It's now embedded in them to the extent that when they've manipulated or abused you, they spit out, but because that DNA manipulation, you are now embedded in them, they look for another candidate to manipulate. And they look for my abusers, they look for another candidate to abuse. True! The life of a widow. Unotozorwadzisa kwa worse. Ndati poison yekuruma nenyoka iya ugoitandanisa ichispreader. Unotozorwadziwa worse ndiwe. Maizo, how are you? Because poison inogona kufamba slowly, ichito damage iwewe. Anditi. Whilst you're looking, waiting for the snake to give you closure. Yekuti wandirumirei. I didn't deserve kuruma. That is what so many of us are doing. Co-abuse, it's not only the physical that is there, that we have always known. And we said abuse is the action that intentionally causes harm to someone. We talked about physical abuse. We talked about social abuse. We talked about verbal abuse. We talked about emotional abuse. No matter those that I've mentioned under abuse, the physical, the social, there is full of abuse, social abuse on social media. No matter it be emotional, verbal, social, or physical, abuse is abuse. Period. Apana iri nani kupinda imu. Because my effects of those abuses, they boil down to munhu kutoita trauma iri serious. Munhu kutofila they are not worth. Munhu kutoshaya value on themselves. So let me say before I start adding any people. Chasing closure from manipulative or abusive people, a bigger percentage of it is not worth it. Because the more you wait, the more you are hurting. The more you wait, the more you are being manipulated, then the more you are being abused. The more you wait, the more the poison is spreading. The more you wait, the more you are losing value on yourself. The more you are losing your self-love. Uchitandanisa nyoka kuti uibvunze kuti wandirumirei. Sorry, I'll put you on mute. Thank you for waiting. So that is the topic that I had. If you want to be added, feel free to be added and add what you want to add. But I hope someone who is in a situation like this is heard clearly. Some closures are not worth it. Some closures are not worth it. They are not worth it in life. If you are watching me, some closures are not worth getting. The sooner you get out of the manipulative relationship, association, or acquaintance, or the sooner you get out of the abusive relationship, whether physical, socially, verbally, or emotional, the better. So that is the message that I had. I am terribly missing doing my live zangu. At the end of the day, ndapakurirana ne 1, 2, 3, it gives me pure joy. Kuti at least that one person or two people pane chavatonzwa, pane chavatobata. I sincerely hope if you like sharing the live so that someone who doesn't even follow me can hear for themselves. I know I did a video clip, but it didn't have explanation like live ya tai. Yeah. Ayo, ndinotenda imi materera. So that is it for me today. That is it for me today. Some closures are not worth it. The more you delay, the more harm you get. Zvakangofanana nechirwere. The more you delay getting assistance in chirwere chako, the more it spreads like wildfire. And sometimes kudzodila ne chinu cha fully blown really 100 times difficult than dealing with it. That is all I can say. The name is Auntie Selina. Thank you so much for joining in the program. I guess, oh, someone wants to join. I was going to say, I guess no one wanting to join in. Oh, come on. Slow connection. Okay, let me add Auntie. Let's remember kuti we learn from each Auntie Budai okay. Auntie Budai okay. Let's remember that we learn from each other. Me coming to say this doesn't necessarily mean knowledge yakatiti. I don't believe that. I don't believe as kuti ndikazvipresent apanapa and I talk about something, it means I ndo vanonyatsochigona ndo vano aye. No. We learn from each other. We do learn from each other. Auntie, if you still want to be added, yati it couldn't add guests, I can wait a bit for you. Mukabuda mukadzoka, so that we can also hear. We can also hear you. We can also hear you. Tikunzweiwa. Mazuva ndiri kutsvaga nzvimbo dzekutandarira munongonzwai. Anyway, it shall be well. Auntie, are you still coming? I'm looking at my board to see. A very good afternoon, and Fabi, to see whether kana mabuda madzoka. It still indicates there is no one to be added. But for those that are joining, let me say, you can always go back to the live and hear it. And that is it. From me, it's a very good Friday. Take care and stay blessed. Inini ndinoti chengetedzwa ine Mwari wenyu, uye at the same time ndinoti vekwenyu ngavakuchengetei futi. Ndatenda hangu, take care. Ciao, ciao. Auntie Elizabeth, Dodo muchangopinda. Hi and bye. Ndofunga ndotozokukumbirewo kuti mudzokere ku live so that we see what we were talking about. But thank you so much for joining in. Take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful Friday. I'm out.